أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم واعتصموا بحبل الله جميعا ولا تفرقوا واذكروا نعمة الله عليكم إذ كنتم أعداء فألف بين قلوبكم فأصبحتم بنعمته إخوانا وكنتم على شفا حفرة من النار فأنقذكم منها كذلك يبين الله لكم آياته لعلكم تهتدون صدق الله العظيم.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم.
In the name of Allah, the most compassionate and most merciful.
والصلاة والسلام
Praise be to Allah,
على رسول الله.
and peace and blessings be upon His
حمد
Messenger.
الرئيس
Your Excellency,
Trump.
Mr. Donald Trump,
رئيس الولايات المتحدة
the
الأمريكية.
President of the United States of America.
صديقة أصحاب الجلالة
Your
والفخامة
Majesties,
والسمو.
Your Excellencies, Your Highnesses, I would like to welcome you to your second country, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia.
ويسمح لي
Leaders of
قدر
both
علي من العالمين العربي
the
والإسلامي
Arab and Muslim worlds,
أن أرحب
please allow
بفخامة
me
الرئيس
to welcome
الصديق
His Excellency, our friend, Mr. Donald Trump,
الولايات المتحدة
the
الأمريكية
President of the United
في قمة
States,
تاريخية
in a historic, unprecedented summit
تنعقد في
that
وقت
is
شديد
held at a
الأهمية
time of
وبال الخطورة.
paramount importance and extreme danger.
أن لقاءنا
Our
هذا
meeting
بفخامة
with the
الرئيس
President of the
الولايات
United
الأمريكية
States
التي تربطها
country
بالكثير من دولنا
that has deep and friendly relations with many of our countries
يجسد اهتمام
embodies
فخامته
His Excellency's interest
وحرصه على
in
توثيق
and
التعاون
keenness on deepening cooperation and continuing to coordinate positions in different fields. It also signifies that our Arab and Muslim countries that are gathering today, and whose number is 55, and whose population exceeds
عدد سكانها المليار ونصف المليار
1.5 billion people,
تعد شريكا
are important
مهما
partners in fighting the forces of extremism and terrorism, as well as in achieving world security, stability, and peace.
ويحمل فخامته في
His
جولة
Excellency
الشكل
has many hopes and
للأعمال
aspirations
والطموحات
for cooperation
تعاون مع العالم
with the
العربي
Arab and
والإسلامي.
Muslim worlds.
وإننا إذ
As we
نتقدم
thank His Excellency and appreciate his attending
استجابته
and
للحضور
participating in this
والمشاركة
summit,
في هذه القمة لنؤكد
we would like
سعادتنا
to confirm our pleasure and appreciation for his choosing your country, the Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, and your summit as his first foreign trip and participation,
فخامته
which
ما
reflects
يعكس وما
his
يؤيد
interest and
فخامته
the interest of
وبلاده
his country
اهتمام
in your blessed summit.
بقيمتكم المباركة كما
At the same time,
نؤكد في
we
الوقت ذاته
confirm that
أننا
we share
نبالغ نفس
with
المشاعر
His Excellency the same noble feelings
والتعاون
of
في بناء
constructive
نهج
cooperation
التطرف
to
والعمل
reject extremism,
على
work
مكافحة
on fighting all
بكافة
forms of
صوره
terrorism, stop
وأشكاله
its financing and its
منابع
propagation, dry up its sources, and stand firm in confronting this scourge that poses a danger
الآفة الخطيرة على الإنسانية جمعاء.
to all of humanity.
ونجتمع اليوم
We are
على
gathered
القمة
here today at the summit to express seriousness in taking vigorous steps to realize a true partnership with the friendly United States
الأمريكية الصديقة يخدم
in a way that serves our common interests and contributes to achieving security, peace, and development for all of humanity. This is what our straightforward Islamic religion confirms. Dear brothers and friends, our responsibilities towards God, towards our peoples, and towards the entire world is to stand united to fight the forces of evil and extremism, whatever their sources are, in response to the dictates of our Islamic religion. Islam was and will always be the religion of mercy, tolerance, and coexistence, as confirmed by brilliant precedents. In its prosperous times, Islam provided the best examples of coexistence and harmony among followers of religions and cultures. However, we see today that some presumed Muslims seek to present a distorted picture of religion, a picture that seeks to conflate this great religion with violence. We say to our Muslim brothers and sisters, our sons and daughters, everywhere, that one of the most important goals of Islamic Sharia is protecting life, and that there is no honor in committing murder. Islam is the religion of peace and tolerance. It urges its followers to develop earth and forbids them from corrupting it. It considers killing an innocent soul tantamount to killing all of humanity. Our way to achieve the goals of our religion and win everlasting life in heaven is to promote the tolerant values of Islam, which are based on peace, moderation, and refraining from destroying and corrupting earth. We all, peoples and countries, reject in every language and denounce in every form damaging the relations of Muslim countries with friendly countries and profiling peoples and countries on a religious or sectarian basis. These odious acts are the products of attempts to exploit Islam as a cover for political purposes, to flame hatred, extremism, terrorism, and religious and sectarian conflicts, as the Iranian regime and the groups and organizations tied to it do, such as Hezbollah and the Houthis, as well as Daesh, Al-Qaeda, and others. The Iranian regime has been the spearhead of global terrorism since the Khomeini Revolution until now. We have been in this country for 300 years and have known no terrorism or extremism until the Khomeini Revolution began in 1979. Iran has turned down all good neighborliness initiatives offered by our nations with goodwill. It has responded with expansionist aspirations, criminal practices, and interference in the internal affairs of other countries, thus violating the principles of international law, good neighborliness, and mutual respect and coexistence. The Iranian regime thought that our silence was weakness and our wisdom was retreat until we had enough of its hostile practices and interference, as we witness in Yemen and other countries in the region. As we say this, we assert at the same time our respect and appreciation for the Iranian people. We do not hold people responsible for the actions of their regime. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia has long suffered from terrorism and has been the target for it because Saudi Arabia is the center of Islam and the Qibla for all Muslims. Terrorist ideology seeks to achieve its fake legitimacy and its spread through targeting the Qibla of all Muslims and the center of their weight. We have succeeded in confronting terrorist actions, foiling many terrorist attempts. We have also helped our brothers and friends around the world to avoid plots targeting their security and stability. Dear brothers and friends, in our continued efforts in confronting terrorism, the GCC states concluded today a historic agreement with the United States of America to adopt strict measures to target financing terrorism by establishing a center in Riyadh to target terrorism financing. We look forward to more countries joining the center in the future, as this agreement will be a model to follow. Will be a model to follow based on our existing efforts in this regard. I confirm on behalf of my brothers, the attending leaders of the Islamic countries, that we will be firm in prosecuting anyone who finances or supports terrorism in any shape or form and bring him to justice. Mr. President, dear brothers and friends, in our continued war on terrorism, we confirm our resolve to eradicate Daesh and other terrorist organizations, regardless of their religion, sect, or ideology. That was the reason we all formed the Islamic Military Alliance to fight terrorism, which was a pioneering step to curb terrorism. Terrorism is a result of extremism. In light of the need to confront terrorism, we declare today launching the Global Center for Combating Extremist Ideology, which aims to disseminate the principles of moderation and tolerance, confront attempts to deceive the young, shield families and societies, and refute the frail claims of terrorists by cooperating with peace-loving nations and international organizations. Dear brothers and friends, achieved, is the successful safeguard. This is what Saudi Vision 2030 embodies in all its aspects. Keenness on investing in youth, enabling women, diversifying the economy, and improving education. The Kingdom of Saudi Arabia undoubtedly supports and encourages every effort by any brotherly or friendly nation that aims at accomplishing sustainable development in their countries. We emphasize that achieving peace between the Palestinians and the Israelis is a just and crucial demand, which requires shared sacrifice and sincere determination for the benefit of all. The international community should intensify its efforts to resolve the Syrian crisis, to achieve the aspirations of the Syrian people, and preserve Syria's unity and sovereignty. Your Majesties, Your Excellencies, Your Highnesses, the hopes and aspirations of our peoples are huge, and our responsibilities to achieve them are great. But your resolve, keenness, and care will enable us to face these duties with will and firmness, and we are committed to development as a strategic goal to confront extremism and terrorism and provide a prosperous life. May God help us achieve the good for our peoples. God bless you.
It's good.
Now I give the floor to His Excellency, the President of the United States of America, Mr. Donald Trump. The floor is yours, sir.
Thank you. I would like to thank King Solomon for his extraordinary words and the magnificent Kingdom of Saudi Arabia for hosting today's summit. I am honored to be received by such gracious hosts. I have always heard about the splendor of your country and the kindness of your citizens, but words do not do justice to the grandeur of this remarkable place and the incredible hospitality you have shown us from the moment we arrived. You also hosted me in the treasured home of King Abdul Aziz, the founder of the kingdom, who united your great people. Working alongside of another beloved leader, American President Franklin Roosevelt, King Abdul Aziz began the enduring partnership between our two countries. King Solomon, your father would be very, very proud to see that you are continuing his legacy. And just as he opened the first chapter of our partnership, today we begin a new chapter that will bring lasting benefits to all of our citizens. Let me now also extend my deep and heartfelt gratitude to each and every one of the distinguished heads of state who made this journey here today. You greatly honor us with your presence, and I send the warmest regards from my country to yours. Thank you. I know that our time together will bring many blessings to both your people and to mine. I stand before you as a representative of the American people to deliver a message of friendship and hope and love. That is why I chose to make my first foreign visit a trip to the heart of the Muslim world, to the nation that serves as custodian of the two holiest sites in the Islamic faith. In my inaugural address to the American people, I pledge to strengthen America's oldest friendships and to build new partnerships in pursuit of peace. I also promise that America will not seek to impose our way of life on others, but to outstretch our hands in the spirit of cooperation and trust. Our vision is one of peace, security, and prosperity in this region and all throughout the world. Our goal is a coalition of nations who share the aim of stamping out extremism and providing our children a hopeful future that does honor to God. And so this historic and unprecedented gathering of leaders, unique in the history of nations, is a symbol to the world of our shared resolve in our military that will protect the safety of our people and enhance the security of our wonderful friends and allies, many of whom are here today. Bonds of friendship, security, culture, and commerce. For Americans, this is a very exciting time. A new spirit of optimism is sweeping our country. In just a few months, we have created almost 1 million new jobs, added over $3 trillion in new value, lifted the burdens on American industry, and made record investments in our military that will protect the safety of our people and enhance the security of our wonderful friends and allies, many of whom are here today. Now, there is even more blessed news that I am pleased to share with you. My meetings with King Solomon, the Crown Prince, and the Deputy Crown Prince have been filled with great warmth, goodwill, and tremendous cooperation. Yesterday, we signed historic agreements with the Kingdom that will invest almost $400 billion in our two countries and create many hundreds of thousands of jobs in America and Saudi Arabia. This landmark agreement includes the announcement of a $110 billion Saudi-funded defense purchase, and we will be sure to help our Saudi friends to get a good deal from our great American defense companies, the greatest anywhere in the world. This agreement will help the Saudi military to take a far greater role in security and operations having to do with security. We have also started discussions with many of the countries present today on strengthening partnerships and forming new ones to advance security and stability across the Middle East and far beyond. Later today, we will make history again with the opening of the new Global Center for Combating Extremist Ideology, located right here in this central part of the Islamic world. This groundbreaking new center represents a clear declaration that Muslim-majority countries must take the lead in combating radicalization, and I want to express our gratitude to King Salman for his strong demonstration and his absolutely incredible and powerful leadership. I have had the pleasure of welcoming several of the leaders present today to the White House, and I look forward to working with all of you. America is a sovereign nation, and our first priority is always the safety and security of our citizens. We are not here to lecture. We are not here to tell other people how to live, what to do, who to be, or how to worship. Instead, we are here to offer partnership based on shared interests and values to pursue a better future.
السعي إلى مستقبل أفضل لكلنا.
Here at this summit,
فهنا في هذه القمة سوف نناقش المصالح كثيرة
but above all, we must be united in pursuing the one goal that transcends every other consideration. That goal is to meet history's great test, to conquer extremism and vanquish the forces that terrorism brings with it every single time. Young Muslim boys and girls should be able to grow up free from fear, safe from violence, and innocent of hatred. When young Muslim men and women should have the chance to build a new era of prosperity for themselves, it has to be done, and we have to let them do it. With God's help, this summit will mark the beginning of the end for those who practice terror and spread its vile creed. At the same time, we pray this special gathering may someday be remembered as the beginning of peace in the Middle East, and maybe even all over the world. But this future can only be achieved through defeating terrorism and the ideology that drives it. Few nations have been spared the violent reach of terrorism. America has suffered repeated barbaric attacks, from the atrocities of September 11th to the devastation of the Boston bombings to the horrible killings in San Bernardino and Orlando. The nations of Europe have also endured unspeakable horror. So too have the nations of Africa and South America. India, Russia, China, and Australia have all been victims. But in sheer numbers, the deadliest toll has been exacted on the innocent people of Arab, Muslim, and Middle Eastern nations. They have borne the brunt of the killings and the worst of the destruction in this wave of fanatical violence. Some estimates hold that more than 95% of the victims of terrorism are themselves Muslim. We now face a humanitarian and security disaster in this region that is spreading across the planet. It is a tragedy of epic proportions. No description of the suffering and depravity can begin to capture its full measure. The control of ISIS, if you look at what's happening, Al-Qaeda, Hezbollah, Hamas, and so many others, must be counted not only in the number of dead, it also must be counted in generations of vanished dreams. The Middle East is rich with natural beauty, vibrant cultures, and massive amounts of historic treasures. It should increasingly become one of the great global centers of commerce and opportunity. This region should not be a place from which refugees flee, but to which newcomers flock. Saudi Arabia is home to the holiest sites in one of the world's great faiths. Each year, millions of Muslims come from around the world to Saudi Arabia to take part in the Hajj. In addition to ancient wonders, this country is also home to modern ones, including soaring achievements in architecture. Egypt was a thriving center of learning and achievement thousands of years before other parts of the world. The wonders of Giza, Luxor, and Alexandria are proud monuments to that ancient heritage. All over the world, people dream of walking through the ruins of Petra in Jordan. Iraq was the cradle of civilization and is a land of natural beauty. And the United Arab Emirates has reached incredible heights with glass and steel and turned earth and water into spectacular works of art. The entire region is at the center of the key shipping lanes of the Suez Canal, the Red Sea, and the Straits of Hormuz. The potential of this region has never, ever been greater. 65% of its population is under the age of 30. Like all young men and women, they seek great futures to build, great national projects to join, and a place for their families to call home. But this untapped potential, this tremendous cause of optimism, is held at bay by bloodshed and terror. There can be no coexistence with this violence. There can be no tolerating it, no accepting it, no excusing it, and no ignoring it. Every time a terrorist murders an innocent person and falsely invokes the name of God, it should be an insult to every person of faith. Terrorists do not worship God. They worship death. If we do not act against this organized terror, then we know what will happen and what will be the end result. Terrorism's devastation of life will continue to spread. Peaceful societies will become engulfed by violence, and the futures of many generations will be sadly squandered. If we do not stand in uniform condemnation of this killing, then not only will we be judged by our people, not only will we be judged by history, but we will be judged by God. This is not a battle between different faiths, different sects, or different civilizations. This is a battle between barbaric criminals who seek to obliterate human life and decent people, all in the name of religion. People that want to protect life and want to protect their religion. This is a battle between good and evil. When we see the scenes of destruction in the wake of terror, we see no signs that those murdered were Jewish or Christian, Shia or Sunni. When we look upon the strains of innocent blood soaked into the ancient ground, we cannot see the faith or sect or tribe of the victims. We see only that they were children of God whose deaths are an insult to all that is holy. But we can only overcome this evil if the forces of good are united and strong, and if everyone in this room does their fair share and fulfills their part of the burden. Terrorism has spread all across the world, but the path to peace begins right here on this ancient soil in this sacred land. America is prepared to stand with you in pursuit of shared interests and common security. But the nations of the Middle East cannot wait for American power to crush this enemy for them. The nations of the Middle East will have to decide what kind of future they want for themselves, for their country, and frankly, for their families and for their children. It's a choice between two futures, and it is a choice America cannot make for you. A better future is only possible if your nations drive out the terrorists and drive out the extremists. Drive them out. Drive them out of your places of worship. Drive them out of your communities. Drive them out of your holy land. And drive them out of this earth. For our part, America is committed to adjusting our strategies to meet evolving threats and new facts. We will discard those strategies that have not worked and will apply new approaches informed by experience, talent, and judgment. We are adopting a principled realism rooted in common values, shared interests, and common sense. Our friends will never question our support, and our enemies will never doubt our determination. Our partnerships will advance security through stability, not through radical disruption. We will make decisions based on real-world outcomes, not inflexible ideology. We will be guided by the lessons of experience, not the confines of rigid thinking. And wherever possible, we will seek gradual reforms, not sudden intervention. We must seek partners, not perfection, and to make allies of all who share our goals. Above all, America seeks peace, not war. Muslim nations must be willing to take on the burden if we are going to defeat terrorism and send its wicked ideology into oblivion. The first task in this joint effort is for your nations to deny all territory to the foot soldiers of evil. Every country in the region has an absolute duty to ensure that terrorists find no sanctuary on their soil. Many are already making significant contributions to regional security. Jordanian pilots are crucial partners against ISIS in Syria and Iraq. Saudi Arabia and a regional coalition have taken strong action against Houthi militants in Yemen. The Lebanese army is hunting ISIS operatives who try to infiltrate their territory. Emirati troops are supporting our Afghan partners and supporting them strongly. In Mosul, American troops are supporting Kurds, Sunnis, and Shias fighting together for their homeland. Qatar, which hosts the U.S. Central Command, is a crucial strategic partner. Our long-standing partnership with Kuwait and Bahrain continue to enhance security in the region. Our courageous Afghan soldiers are making tremendous sacrifices in the fight against the Taliban and others in the fight for their country. As we deny terrorist organization control of territory and populations, we must also strip them of their access to funds. We must cut off the financial channels that let ISIS sell oil, let extremists pay their fighters, and help terrorists smuggle their reinforcements. I am proud to announce that the nations here today will be signing an agreement to prevent the financing of terrorism, called the Terrorist Financing Targeting Center, co-chaired by the United States and Saudi Arabia, and joined by every member of the Gulf Cooperation Council. It is another historic step in a day that will be long remembered. I also applaud the Gulf Cooperation Council for blocking funders from using their countries as a financial base for terror, and for designating Hezbollah as a terrorist organization, which they certainly are, last year. Saudi Arabia also joined us this week in placing sanctions on one of the most senior leaders of Hezbollah. Of course, there is still much work to be done. That means honestly confronting the crisis of Islamic extremism and the Islamists and Islamic terror of all kinds. We must stop what they're doing to inspire, because they do nothing to inspire but kill. And we are having a very profound effect if you look at what's happened recently. And it means standing together against the murder of innocent Muslims, the oppression of women, the persecution of Jews, and the slaughter of Christians. Religious leaders must make this absolutely clear. Barbarism will deliver you no glory. Piety to evil will bring you no dignity. If you choose the path of terror, your life will be empty, your life will be brief, and your soul will be fully condemned. And political leaders must speak out to affirm the same idea. Heroes don't kill innocents, they save them. Many nations here today have taken important steps to raise up that message. Saudi Arabia's vision for 2030 is an important and encouraging statement of tolerance, respect, empowering women, and economic development. The United Arab Emirates has also engaged in the battle for the hearts and souls, and with the United States launched a center to counter the online spread of hate. Bahrain, too, is working to undermine recruitment and radicalism. I also applaud Jordan, Turkey, and Lebanon for their role in hosting refugees. The surge of migrants and refugees living so poorly that they're forced to leave the Middle East depletes the human capital needed to build stable societies and economies. Instead of depriving this region of so much human potential, Middle Eastern countries can give young people hope for a brighter future in their home nations and regions. That means promoting the aspirations and dreams of all citizens who seek a better life, including women, children, and the followers of all faiths. Numerous Arab and Islamic scholars have eloquently argued that protecting equality strengthens Arab and Muslim communities. For many centuries, the Middle East has been home to Christians, Muslims, and Jews living side by side. We must practice tolerance and
Another
respect for each other once again, and make this region a place
The
where
battery's
every
dead.
man and woman, no matter their faith or ethnicity, can enjoy a life of dignity and hope. In that
Plug it
spirit,
into the green plug.
after concluding my
Plug it
residence
in right there.
in a fabulous place that we're at today,
Plug it in down
Riyadh,
there.
which I've gotten to know so well in so short a time, I will travel to Jerusalem and Bethlehem, and then to the Vatican, visiting many of the holiest places in the three Abrahamic faiths. If these three faiths can join together in cooperation, then peace in this world is possible, including peace between Israelis and Palestinians. I will be meeting with both Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and Palestinian President Abbas. Starving terrorists of their territory, of their funding, and the false allure
Where
of
do I plug
the
it?
craven ideology will
Right
be
here?
the basis for easily defeating them. But no discussion of stamping out this threat would
Where the
be
fuck do I
complete
plug it
without
at?
mentioning the government that gives terrorists all three: safe harbor, financial backing, and the social standing needed for recruitment. It is a regime that is responsible for so much instability in that region. I am speaking, of course, of Iran. From Lebanon to Iraq to Yemen, Iran funds arms and trains terrorists, militias, and